And with regards to the J's, which have a lot of here, you got the big problem potentially of the 2-year home residency requirement. And this is something that started in the initial parts of the J visa where they said, you know, if a person is coming here as a cultural exchange student and we want them to come learn this knowledge in the United States and then go back to their home country and over there share that information. And so not every country is going to be subject to this, not every field of study is. There's a list of countries that could be subject to it, and then what areas of study that could be problematic, that could cause someone to be subject to the J-1 home residency requirement. So it's very important to be mindful of that. If you're coming in on something called the Fulbright scholarship, you're automatically subject to the 2-year home residency requirement. And it's much harder to get that waived. So even if you are subject to the J-1 2-year home residency requirement, it's potential that you could get a waive. Fulbright is harder. It's not impossible. I've seen it happen, but it's much more difficult. The waivers are based on hardship. It's based on the fact that you may have, your home country may say it's okay, but there's much more nuance to it. For example, if you're a medical student, even if your home embassy okays it, they still want to prove it. You have to get the waiver based on some sort of hardship or that kind of thing. So be mindful of that, especially the medical students. Now, if you're worried of whether you are subject to the 2-year residency requirement, usually they will put it in your J-1 visa. Also, your DS 2019 will list it, but you got to be careful. They don't always fill out the paperwork correctly. So even you may be subject to the J-1 2-year residency requirement, but it's not listed on your paperwork, and later on you try to do something and it becomes problematic. So you really want to check to see if your country's on the list, what your study's on the list, are you a Fulbright, this and that, are you a medical student coming here for graduate work, and then it'll take it from there just to double check, because they make mistakes on this stuff all the time. If you are subject to the J-1 2-year home residency requirement, it means that you're not allowed to change status in the United States. So if you're on the J or you come on a tourist visa B2, for example, you can't change status in the United States. You have to leave and get a visa, but you're not allowed to get certain visas. The H-1B is not permitted and the L-1 is not permitted unless you wait out the 2 years or you get a waiver of the 2-year home residency requirement. So you got to be very mindful of how this could affect people. I have a case right now, someone from Mongolia subject to the J-1 home residency requirement, and she found a husband, a person she fell in love with, getting married, and it's going to be really hard to waive it. We're going to try, but she's going to go back and try to wait it out. Maybe the waiver is going to happen, maybe it's not, but she's going to wait out the 2 years and then get the green card through her U.S. citizen spouse. He's going to go visit her in the meantime just so he could get the 2 years done. And they literally count it sometimes. Some officers are really strict. They want to see the airplane ticket that showed you went back home, and you're supposed to be residing in the home country as is written in the rules that you were before you got the country you're resident of. Just continue it there. Now, some officers will count the days, some will be more lenient, but on your own, you want to be most conservative of just counting the days if you're subject to this requirement of going back home. So those are just some of the things I try to look at first. Check, it's like doing x-rays or something like that to make sure people don't have these issues, because there'll be a problem. With the J-1 2-year home residency requirement, you can't get a green card until the 2 years are done or it's waived. So that becomes a big problem. I've had couples constantly, I do a lot of marriage cases where they just find out on my consultation they're subject to it, and then we got to figure out how to deal with that. So the sooner you know that issue exists, the better it is. Thank you for watching this educational program. To get the latest videos, click the subscribe button and the notification bell icon. Also, help us help the immigrant community by liking this video and sharing it with your family and friends. You can also find us on other social media sites like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, and Twitter, where you find the latest updates on immigration news, policy changes, and tips. Be safe and God bless. See you soon.